Hello, it's Monday again. Here we are, LinkedIn Live. As you can see, I've got more technical with this StreamYard every week we go on. So now I've got some fancy banners down the bottom. So yeah, tune in next week. You never know what you might see. So here we are, another Monday. Yeah, what an interesting weekend. So I'm sure there's been lots of discussions with everyone, whether you're a retailer, an agency, whatever you are. I'm sure it's been a morning of discussion and debate. I've certainly spoken to a few friends in retail this morning. There's lots of conversations going on about what's happening now, but for the next few weeks with the impending lockdown part 2. So don't want to sort of talk too much about it on here today. I thought it'd be quite a good one maybe for next week to like tickle the brains of everyone about how that sort of impacts retail and Christmas and specifically kind of everything that we do visually going forward for now towards Christmas. But yeah, wanted to kind of keep this open to talking about the physical store and what part this plays in the future of retail. Probably quite interesting because there's a lot of bits that have been talked about by the government for the impending lockdown about the stores. So yeah, really kind of wanted to come on here today and talk about what that part has to play. So again, as always, totally open interactive session where you can ping any thoughts, comments or questions into the comments sort of banner below or wherever it is on your screen. So I suppose it's all about talking about what the store has to play in the future of retail, really. So I've sort of grown up with shops, as I think I've said before, got into visual merchandising in store, and always loved stores. Like, I think the store has an incredible and always has had an incredible part to play in people's sort of lifestyle. It's a thing that we've grown up doing, shopping. That buzz of going out shopping on a Saturday afternoon, getting your outfit for the night out, or going to with your friends shopping and that buzz. There's the music in the stores, there's the colours, there's the clothes, there's literally everything about going shopping. And I think there's still so much importance in that with the future of a retail store. Maybe less so from a purchasing point of view, but more from it's still that experience point of view, that real hands-on physical experience with product. So it's the store has evolved. I remember being at Topshop and that was the store to visit. It was the buzz. It was a play store. It was a playground of kind of evocative emotions and physical and there was things going on. There was live DJs, there was loud music, there was big graphics, there was super product, super styling, all those sort of things. And it was a must visit place. And retail's changed a lot since then. And we're all talking about creating a sort of experience, and that was an experience. What people sort of typically don't want to do now, and where the future of the retail store goes, is in how you take that experience to the next level. So no one wants to it's less about going out to purchase. It's less about sort of perusing a number of shops and walking from shop to shop to try and find a product. I've spoken before that, my 9-year-old is so educated on the product that she knows she wants those Air Max trainers and she knows where she wants to buy them from, or she knows that's where she wants, there's a certain number of stores she wants to go to get them. So she knows the product, she knows what she wants to look like, she knows where to go to buy it. But what she still wants to do, and what we all want to do, is still experience something at the end. So, you know, the difference between a physical shop and what Amazon can do is that Amazon can't create a compelling shopping experience that will give you a physical or an emotive buzz. You know, I don't know, I certainly don't get the same feeling as opening a brown box from Amazon as I do going into a store. So you know, it's that the buzzword is experience, but it's, you know, it's purely a real thing around that physical experience. So if you look at any stores and any new store concepts that have opened in the last 12 months, they've all been focused on experience, regardless of what that experience is, whether it's a tech experience and integrating like a seamless digital to physical one. So if you look at, you know, the Nike House of Innovation in Paris, that was all about connecting you seamlessly online to your offline. So, but it was a sort of rounded 360 experience. So, you know, and then it goes from that to one store that I absolutely love, and I put on my LinkedIn a while back, was, you know, the United Cycling Lab and Store, which is it's a bike store. I don't know if you call it a store, but it is a shop for their incredible machinery. That, but the concept behind it is, it's not a store. It's an environment for you to pretty much worship the product. The product hangs in there, godlike, it's so incredible that you are there to pretty much sort of be in awe of it. They even call it a monastery, for sort of a modern monastery for cyclists. The bike becomes God. So it's that, again, that whole emotional piece that you see those bikes online, and that it doesn't have that same piece that makes it so aspirational that you can scroll through. And I've been looking all weekend for a coat, but there's nothing in scrolling through pages and pages of coats. They all look the same, and but I need to know how they feel. I need to know how they fit. I need to know my quote I need to buy is to keep me warm for when I have to be outside now for the next 4 weeks, and I can't get that same. People probably think I'm really old, but I can't get that emotional connection to a coat, if that's even a thing that you can do. Online, I've gone on every website, and I just want to know how warm it is. I want to know how it is like a sleeping bag is what I want to do. So for me, that's one of the futures of the store, and how it plays. You know, it's interesting. The government have said that click and collect will continue. So there is a piece for a store to play, and as it moves, you know, through the sort of community piece and what's now essential retail, there's a lot of conversations, and I think what we've seen in Wales, you know, supermarkets are putting in more and more different brands. You know, AO have just started a number of physical spaces in I'm not sure which supermarket, but in a supermarket. Iceland have started going into the range. So this kind of like cross collaboration is quite an interesting point for retail, that begins to give retail a bit of a new renaissance, I suppose, is as we sort of work out where people are going, where people interact, where people will probably interact with your product. And I've spoken before, but that community piece around how does the local community have a real part to play, and the local high street have a part to play with bringing retail to life in a new way. So, interesting one. Sky have just opened their first sort of physical retail store. Not a brand that you'd think would open a store, but again, a really interesting way that they can start engaging with their consumers in a sort of physical way, in a local way. They've opened it in Liverpool, but there's a number of stores I know that they're planning to open, and it kind of gives them a way for people to start engaging with them on a product level, on a technical level, and then it sort of evolves from there, really. So the sort of future of the store has a real different sort of significance, I think, in that it's probably just not a store, but more of a community led space, or a curated space. Again, is another one. So Cole's Dropyard is an incredible space that is not just the Cos store. It's it's an ongoing exhibition of curated collections that sit alongside their own products. So it's a museum, it's an art gallery, it's a shop, it's all of those things at once, and it creates something for you to go back and visit and see. So it's not just a clothes shop anymore. But there's lots of examples like that. You know, Supreme opened a store in San Francisco and put a skate bowl in it, because that meets the need of their customers. And I think that's the future. You know, for me, the thinking of the future of the store is that it has to meet the need of the consumer. I'm just looking at the comments that are coming in while I sit here randomly gibbering on like I do every week, but it's that bit. If stores kind of have to innovate and move to the future, but what they shouldn't do is not innovate for the sake of innovation. So what does your customer need? What's the consumer looking for? Like, why would you put what is the point of a digital screen or a digital fitting room if your consumer's not looking for that? So it's about thinking through your consumer and through your consumer's eyes, and really answering those problems, or solving those problems that your consumer needs help with. And I think there's lots of really great examples of that. You know, the kind of theatre and the emotional experience and all of those immersive interactive bits that we all talk about, and I've talked about for the last 3 weeks here. So and there's been some really interesting, like this weekend Fraser's opened a store in Portsmouth, and Fraser's is the new word for Sports Direct Group, and but it was what it was is a retail destination. And I know that we've all sort of talked about the demise of the department store, and obviously Selfridges is not in that. That's a retail destination in itself, and that shows the incredible position of how they've created what I'd call a retail destination. But yeah, Fraser's has moved into that field. They've opened a big one in Portsmouth, and it includes Sports Direct, USC, Evans, Cycles, Game, and as part of that they've put in a gaming arena, so for esports, and their Portsmouth esports team. So what happens is their whole sort of world of brands that relates to everything Sports Direct or Fraser's now. The interesting point is that they're sort of collecting brands that sit nicely together. So whether you're into sports fashion, e-game, like e-com, or gaming, obviously I don't know those words, I'm not a gamer, but if you're into gaming, if you're into Call of Duty or FIFA, or you know, you're playing that with your mates and you're wearing those products. So you're wearing Nike and Adidas and all of that stuff that goes with it. So to have one retail destination is genius. Jonathan's just put in there. It looks great. It does. I saw some pictures. I've seen some pictures today on LinkedIn, and it looks cool. It looks really cool. You'd never think it, if you think about where Sports Direct has came from and some of the stuff, and to where they are now, shows kind of, for me, that is the future of retail. They're investing hard in these stores, and it would be interesting to see how they play out. So Charlotte's put here, we each connect with store. I don't have to read it, but that's totally right. It's that personality and brand experience, and how we need store creativity. And I think that's the thing, that the creativity comes probably. It goes back to what I talked about, I think, maybe in week one, and the future of the role of the visual merchandiser is that the visual merchandiser now, it's less about dressing a mannequin and placing product or props but it's taking that art of the storytell that ultimately has always been a visual merchandiser's job, is to bring a story to life and to sell that to a consumer. That's even more important now with this future of the store. So it's taken it beyond retail, I suppose, and storytelling, or bringing to life the brand through the physical space. So another one that's opened, was it last week or the week before, was Rituals, House of Rituals in Amsterdam. Again, a great sort of standout for them. If you've been to a ritual store, they very sort of same in terms of how they deliver. They do some great pop-up activations, but to then move into this world, and it answers those questions that their consumers are having about the product. It's not just a shop that sells Rituals product. I think there's like a spa there where you can relax in there. You can engage in, like, it's a whole house of everything to do with rituals, and it's all of that. It's taking the brand and the product and bringing it to life in a different way. So yeah, Adidas Carnaby Street, their new Adidas Original store. It's a store, you can buy a product in there, but it's also integrated or mixed in with a number of vintage pieces, iconic pieces, future thinking, sustainable things, artworks, neon lights by God's own junkyard. There's live and digital events that go in there. So the whole store is not just a shop, and you can go in and obviously buy a product, but you can also engage with Adidas as a brand. And I think that is that whole sort of future of the retail. So yeah, Marion's written here, totally right. It's not about selling products. Ultimately, brands want to sell products, but as I sort of said before, you can buy products anywhere. If you think about brands, they sell across a number of retails, whether they're online retailers or offline retailers or wholesale environments. So what you want your consumer to do is engage with your brand offline and learn about it. So whether they then go home and put it in their basket via ASOS or Amazon or anyone else, they're still engaging. So I think there's a sort of debate. It's interesting debate. I'm just reading on the side about the sort of this piece. But Adrian, this is good. Theatre is one, selling products is another. That's totally right, Adrian. I'll put this one up. But ultimately, retail is about selling product. It turns the wheels in motion in retail. it's a really interesting point that, yeah, if retailers don't sell, they don't make any money. But I think it's about ensuring that consumers are engaging with their product and then committing to purchase, whether that's in the store or somewhere else, whether it's, online, offline, on their mobile devices. They click through via Instagram. Anywhere that they can purchase, they are purchasing into your brand. And I've talked about it before. Apple are kings of that, But again, other ones are like Lego. My kids like Lego, and they go to the Lego store, but I can't tell you how much I've spent probably in the Lego store. It's very small compared to probably what I've spent on Lego in another store or online, so they are engaging with Lego, whether it's through the Lego store or a Lego event or a Lego collaboration, all of those things. They're engaging with Lego, and we're still committed to purchase outside, whether it's through lego.com or Lego store or Amazon or all those. So we're still buying into Lego, and it's that thinking slightly differently, that 360 approach. And there, I think Neil's put it here. It's about brands that can elevate themselves to fully circular platforms. And as I've spoken about it before, from my time in retailers, it's a difficult challenge for traditional retailers to move to that model. It's really difficult because they're not set up for that. They're set up for stores, e-com, social, and that is a big change for them to sort of think about how that works. If you're a brand, it's a lot easier because you're selling multi-channel anyway. So Charlotte's put here, I definitely think there's a big part, and I've seen other people have said similar things about the future role of VM in the physical store, is that regardless of what's happened in 2020, I think 2021 there's a real sort of, we're having some great conversations with retailers, and having a retail reset, shall we say, in 2021, and really embracing the fact that people are looking for an experience and to engage with. You had to just look yesterday, as soon as we were told we can't go shopping, the shops were full yesterday. And I know that's a bit of because people need to sort of clamour to do it, but there is a thing to do. Everyone I've spoken to is like, oh my God, what am I going to do about shopping, or where can I go this? And my brother even rushed out and bought a Christmas tree because that's the kind of person he was. But it's that piece around shopping is part of our sort of DNA and that expression of what we do. And I think we will be looking, and a lot of retailers will need to look in 2021 as to how to kind of review what their stores do. Over the next 4 weeks, we're all going to start shopping online again and clicking and collecting or having it delivered. So we know that that's the future of the store, is not in just going and perusing and browsing. It's about creating something more than that, and we've been doing that for a long time. You just have to look at Primark in Manchester. Not innovative in any way, but it's a destination. It's got a nail bar, and I know Topshop is this. We've talked about Topshop, but it's the same. They've got a nail bar in there. They've got a barber's in there. They've got a friend's cafe. So you have to go there. They've got a Disney cafe in Birmingham, and it's something different from. So yeah, why would you not go to if you're going to Manchester? Why you would want to go to the Friends cafe if you like Friends? So you're not just going to Primark, you're going for a reason, and then you're in the store and you're immersed in the store. So it's about taking all of those reasons to visit and really playing on them. So whether that's a digital experience or an immersive experience, or creating a sort of sense of play, I think is the bit. So yeah, it's about taking all of that buzz that we love from shopping, that sort of community piece that it's a social thing, and reinventing that for the future years, really. So this is an interesting point from Gary. So how do we find the balance between the traditional retailer being an old brand, building their own brand, while allowing brands to also establish themselves and connect in the ways they have been described here? So yeah, I think that the challenge with the traditional retailer is they've got a certain model of stores and product, and it's about making those products come to life in a different way within a store, and whether that's through their people, it doesn't have to be anything innovative in terms of their people. And we were talking this morning at Wild about why would you click and collect over having something delivered to your house? And the click and collect involves a personal connection, whether it's a personal connection to someone who works in that store or works for that company, versus the DPD driver who just slings it on your doorstep and then drives off. Whether the click and collect involves beautiful packaging and beautiful wrapping if it's a Christmas gift, and is handed over to you by someone who is passionate and loyal to that retailer that they work for. So, I think that's the difference, or how a retailer could even start to think about the future of their retail. It doesn't have to be completely off the scale innovative in terms of its kind of reset. It's about, that goes back to that thing about you don't need to start adding in crazy technology for the sake of it. If you're a small fragrance company, or you don't need all that tech, you just need some personal connection to your consumer. So let's have a look. Adrian's, there's some good bits here. So definitely agree. If retailer brands are not making the sales on the high street, cuts are being made, and it's always cuts to VM and stores and store design that get hit first, because but I think, and I'm just whizzing through now to your original point, Adrian, here we go. Do you think there'd be more of a call for more cost-effective display? Definitely. I think more cost-effective display and ways that we can make displays. It goes back to that thing I was just talking about. It doesn't have to be super high tech. It doesn't have to be super expensive. But it has to create a sort of moment to visit. It could be lots of, it's about there's a lot of talk about sustainable, and I talk about the refills on the road van that comes around here, but obviously Body Shop have done something similar where it's a refill station within the store, and you take your pots and you fill up, and that's not super. I can't imagine that's super expensive and high tech in its application. But it's definitely something you can't do at home or somewhere else, or it's a reason to visit that store. It sits within the values of their company and their ethos of their brand and all those. So it's that goes back to answering those questions of your consumer. Your consumer buys into your brand values, and they're even. I think that everyone's more socially aware. Everyone's more tuned in now. So it's about really enhancing those thoughts and connections with your consumer or your brand fan, as we like to call them, and make sure that what you're doing is completely in tune with that. So yeah, whether it's a small section in the store that allows consumers to bring back their empty bottles and fill them up, or if it's a complete store takeover like Nike does, and you seamlessly connect your Nike app wherever you go, so that they completely understand you as a consumer and can provide you with the right product for your sort of physical requirements. It kind of like goes from the sublime to the ridiculous. Like whatever you could do is possible, but I think it's about putting the future of the retail store is about putting yourself in your consumer's eyes, not expecting now to just open the doors to your shop and the consumer to come. That's gone. We've all been part. If you've been in VM for retail, we've all opened stores, and you would open the doors and people would come. But now there has to be there has to be a reason to go. There has to be a sort of a thing there that makes people come. So, and it has to be in tune with them. So, yeah, I've written on my thing, but on my notes, it's a bit cheesy. But it's about creating a harmonized, accurate reflection of who you are as a brand and your culture and your ethos, so your consumer buys into it and continues that journey. So I'll just put another one from Charlotte here. We each connect with stores as if they have personalities and different factors play into it. So yeah, the music, the design, windows, layout, fixturing, if we lose that, shopping all just becomes the same. And that's completely bang on in terms of it's all about everything. It's about that whole melting pot of all of that. There's nothing worse than walking into a store that's just a white box that you take the branding off the top of the store, and you could be in any store. Where's the excitement in that? Where's the experience in that? Where's the differentiation in that? We all go to different coffee shops because we like the coffee, or we like the ambience, or we like the lighting, or we like, you're a fan of certain food over others, restaurants, and there's stores, and all of those things have got to be the same. You don't need to that cookie cut. I think the cookie cutter approach. Not every store has to be white walls with wooden floor and the same lighting. You don't need it needs a personality, and whether each store is curated differently, whether you have a small portfolio of stores but they're all independently curated. Anthropology is incredible for that, in how each store has its own sort of art window, and how they create the spaces, so you don't feel like you're just going to anytime you go into anthropology, it's an experience. You're kind of uncovering something exciting or new, or and to go to a different town and see some. So there's lots of comments today, so I'm sort of looking over here, but this is an interesting one. And I think this is great, and I think the interaction between social selling and physical selling is really interesting. So that was, the whole point is that the store, I suppose, becomes if you go back to the bike example, but it's that showroom space for your product. So we have been having conversations with another brand about the store for them is a showroom. It's a space for people to come and try on or feel or smell, and then the purchasing piece is a different experience. So, but I think things like Facebook or Instagram Live, I know in China they did so much WeChat or live WeChat demonstrations, that consumers would be able to engage with the store staff in the store and see all the products, see the demonstrations. So I like this point. A combination of the physical and digital. So while digital takes higher share, experience and physical issue, yeah. But it has to be shown. I like that there. Amusement and personalization. So completely, all of those three things have to be mixed together. And I think that goes back to that piece that I was sort of taught, that retail destination. Selfridges do it. They've done it incredibly well for a long time. And as we talk about Fraser's opening these sort of retail destination, it's not just solely focused on selling product, but what they want you to do is buy into product. But while you're there, engage with all of their touch points, whether it's bikes, gaming, fashion, all of those sort of things. But yeah, I think maybe this is a good point to finish on, because again, I've been rambling. I should probably open these up for longer than half an hour. But I like this point. It seems that we over-index on tech and complex retail displays, when in fact the biggest asset we have in the physical world are the people. And that's so true, Gary. I think that is a great point to sort of finish on, is that without people, like, I'm not excited. I know lots of people are excited about Amazon and Amazon Go stores and all those sort of, but that person interaction, that passionate person. Like, I worked in store as a sales assistant. I loved it. Like, Saturdays were the best day, because you'd come in, you'd turn the music on. I loved the product. I was into the brand, and people came in and they cared about what I said to them about the product. I'm not a salesperson. But I loved the clothes and I loved the brand. And there's no bigger sort of asset. Like, technology can't replace those people. And that's the biggest point of a physical store. And the future of the store has to integrate all of those things. We don't all want to interact with a store staff member or a sales assistant, but we want to interact with the brand. And if that involves people, demonstrations, I don't know what, but all of those things, artists, if you do, Apple's another, always referencing Apple, but the guys in the store aren't Apple salespeople. They don't sell to you. They love that product. They know that product inside out. They help you on that product. They assist you on that product, and they ultimately push you into the world of Apple. And it's the same. Like, we can go into Lego, and it's a play store. To be honest, we play in there where the kids play. They create minifigures for hours on end, and the store staff engage with them in that level. There's no pressure on being there and not purchasing, and that's the piece that I think the final piece of the jigsaw. We could take all the stores and turn them into digital stores, and you shop everything by QR code. And I know Burberry have done that in certain ways, but they've still added in layers of personalization and physical interaction. But yeah, you take everything out and you put QR codes, you might as well shop at line on home. At home, it's that piece. Everything has to have a collaborative, creative approach. So hopefully it's been another interesting session. I'm just going to keep doing them until someone says, please stop, Tim, you're getting on my nerves every Monday being on there. So hopefully it's just a good point for everyone to come on and debate and discuss. And as I always say every week, is to sort of highlight the fact that there is loads of good things in retail going forward. There's lots of exciting things for anyone to get involved in, whether you're just starting in VM, whether you're experienced in VM, whether you're an agency or a production house, or all of those things, that there is a future for visual merchandising and retail creative, and to come in here and kind of debate that each week. So thanks, Gary. Just don't stop. I might run out of things to say at one point. So as I say every week, and then I'm hoping someone creeps out the woodwork and joins and does take me up on my on the baton I'm passing over. But if someone wants to come on and do something, I'm quite up for doing like a one-to-one interview on giving people platforms for them to talk about them. So whether it's you want to talk about your career or your services, or I don't know what it is, but I'm quite up for doing like a one-to-one chat. But if anyone wants to come on, has any ideas of things that they want to talk about, please get in contact. If not, I'll be back next Monday at 1:00, and I think I'm just going to debate maybe next week. I know I have people from all over in terms of watching, so excuse the very English centric focus, but maybe next week is what's the sort of between now and Christmas look like for retail, and quick wins for retail 2020. So thanks for joining. I will see you next week. Again, if there's anything that anyone wants to ping me, please feel free to drop me a note or anything like that. And then if not, I'll see you next week. And we'll keep going then. And have a great week, and we will see you then. Thanks everyone. Speak to you later. Cheers.